This is StormReel, a podcast about the intersection of people and weather, hosted by storm chasers Jeremy Hamann and me, Gabe Cox.
Welcome to StormReel, the podcast about the intersection of people and weather. I am your host, Jeremy Hamann, joined by my fellow host, Gabe Cox. Hey, Gabe, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man.
This is a super special episode that we've been talking about for years and years, wanting to make and put together, and it's finally happening.
Finally, yeah, years in the making. At least three, right?
Yeah,
three?
Yeah, three on the nose.
Man.
Absolutely. So super stoked about our guest. But last night, as of this record, we're recording on June 6, 2025 right now. But last night, June 5th, there was a pretty spectacular weather event that took place on the eastern side of New Mexico and western side of Texas. Pretty crazy supercell, long track, dropping almost a dozen tornadoes, they think, at this point. And then a big old dusty red dirt beast in Morton, Texas. So crazy looking. Looked like a Mad Max Fury Road tornado.
It really did, yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah.
It was bananas. Yeah, I'm still coming off the high just from seeing other people's content. You and I were not there, just to put that out there, but
yeah,
the amount of videos coming in and just the whole scene was spectacular. Oh. So the tornado being red was offset by this white collar of clouds right above it, which was crazy. And then you had the dark gray storm clouds above that. So just layers of colors. Was unbelievable.
It looked angry. I know it like,
oh yeah,
it looked really crazy. Really,
and the
really
radar
crazy.
Imagery was insane.
Yes.
Because there was a mobile radar unit out there and they were sending up photos and it almost looked like a hurricane. Mm-hmm. The high resolution images they were getting right next to the tornado.
Yeah.
Just a bananas event all around.
So we'll link to some of those images in the show notes of some of those tweets.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of videos coming out. So
yeah. And
we'll throw up some.
Totally. And you have a special relationship with Morton, Texas.
Yeah, not a great one. We'll just go on record as saying I have a hate relationship with Morton, Texas. So, was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? 2 or 3 years ago. I should have researched this before we recorded. But I'm trying to forget the event. A very similar tornado happened. Actually, if you look it up, it almost looks exactly the same. Wow. Big, dusty, like reddish brown wedge tornado just out in the middle of nowhere. And I was not there. And the reason I was not there was because at the last minute, I was literally walking out the door with my backpack on my back. And I just thought, you know what? I'm just not feeling it. I don't think it's going to be worth the drive. It's very subtle meteorology at play for that day. And it looked super messy on the forecast models. So I didn't think it was going to be worth the 8-hour drive out there. Yeah. And so last minute, I decided, I won't go. And made a joke like, I'm going to regret this later. And then that afternoon, I was irate. That's the maddest I've ever been about not chasing. I was not a pleasant person to be around.
Yeah, that's a painful feeling. That's a sick feeling looking at your phone.
It is. When you're like walking out the door and you decide, and then it happens.
But you got to listen to your gut. You got to trust yourself.
Got to trust there was some reason I wasn't there. Maybe it was to reveal that I had an addiction problem. I should not have gotten that angry.
Yeah, totally.
That was, my family was very quiet that night, just watching me.
Stu, yeah.
Yeah.
Dad is upset.
Daddy's angry.
Yeah, those are painful moments for sure.
But it's amazing how similar the two tornadoes looked. So
crazy.
If you're looking up the Morton, Texas tornado from this year, make sure you look that one up too and compare them. It's pretty wild.
Crazy. So super cool. I don't know when this episode will be released, but yeah, like we said, this is June 5th, 2025. Look that thing up because it's crazy. If you like to look at tornadoes and you think they're cool looking, which you probably do if you're listening to this.
Our guest just reminded us that we should probably mention there were 0 fatalities with the Morton, Texas tornado. Yeah. I don't know if it actually hit any structures. From what I've seen, it looks like it missed everything that was out there. It's a pretty rural area.
That's great news, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and with 11 tornadoes, what are the chances it would miss everything? So that's good news. Hopefully that news holds and ends up being just a tornado fest that nobody was affected by.
Yep,
that's the best.
The best kinds. Yeah, it's pretty spare out there in that part of the country. So, not a ton of population, thankfully.
I wanna pause and just comment on how beautiful your fiddle leaf fig is in the background.
Thank you.
It's pretty fantastic. I mean, it looks like it's reaching the ceiling.
Yeah.
Is it that tall?
It's getting pretty close. This is kind of like an angled ceiling that goes up to a point. But it is really tall. It's probably
That's like 8 feet.
Yeah, at least 8 or 9 feet. We've had it since 2020. It was or 2019. It was like our pandemic plant that we got.
Look at it thrive.
Nurture. And this is the second location it's been in. That was like a funny trip. So it's in a pretty big like terracotta pot. And I had to put like a big old garbage bag over it and tip it sideways in our van. It's got like a nice big stake that's being held up with some supports.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a beast. I need to water it. But growing something like that in Colorado is pretty challenging. It's a very dry climate, and it would probably like a little bit more humidity. But
it's glorious. Yeah, whatever you guys are doing, you're doing it right.
Thank you. I'll take a picture, and we'll put it in the show notes. Yeah.
That's the new album art, actually.
New show mascot. Yeah.
Does it have a name?
Ooh, it doesn't. Figgy. Yeah, we call it Figgy.
Figgy?
Yeah.
I like it.
Our guests should leave comments on this episode.
Yeah, name that fiddle leaf fig.
The crazy thing about it is I brought it into this room, this office that I'm in, which is at my mother-in-law's. And I also paint from time to time. I've been painting with some oil paints, and they can be a little smelly with some of the different mediums and stuff you mix with them. I'm definitely just learning how to use them. But this room got filled with a pretty intense odor if you've ever oil painted. But I brought the fiddle leaf in a little bit later, and I think it like cleaned the air, actually, like filtered some of the air. At least I'm imagining that could be, correlation, not causation, but.
Oh, that sounds right to me.
So yeah, it's a beautiful, great plant. Thanks for liking it.
Yeah. I'm just going to stare at it the whole time.
Yes. And so we're recording in some podcasting software where we basically can look at each other's like video screens. We're film. If the listeners don't know, we're recording at distance. You are in Texas. We are in Colorado, but you have your video off.
Yes.
And I don't know why you have your video off. We have our video on, but I think you have some sort of reveal.
Oh yes, changes have happened.
Okay.
And I wanted to break the news over the podcast. So I'm gonna let you describe the scene as it unfolds.
Okay, I'm looking at a gray box right now, just with a G in it. So the reveal. Okay, we have video on. I see Gabe in his office. There's a microphone blocking the bottom half of his face, and it's kind of choppy.
Mustache.
I see a mustache activated.
It's stash summer. The summer of the stash. Thanks.
Have you rocked
I'm jealous.
mustache before?
I have not. Well, I've done a mustache temporarily. Actually, fun fact, I was an extra on an HBO show where it's required to have a mustache, which I was very happy. They asked, do you mind having a mustache? And I thanked them for asking me.
Remind us what the show was. What show were you on?
Yeah, it was Love and Death with Elizabeth Olsen. And I got to be a reporter extra. So late 1970s, early 1980s was the time frame. So I had a sweet brown bell-bottom suit. And I got to carry around a little cassette recorder and shout questions at Elizabeth Olsen as she walked by. It was a fun time. But that's the only other time I've had a mustache. And I kind of missed it. So I thought, it's time to bring it back. And just walked into the room casually, to get Meredith's gauge on the situation. And she didn't notice it at first. She just said, you're so good looking. Wait, you have a mustache. I was like, yes.
Dang.
That was awesome. The confirmation I needed.
That rules.
That's all I needed.
You can grow a great mustache. It's just like nice high contrast, good height to it. I can't grow as good a mustache, but I'm jealous of your situation.
Oh, you got a great stash.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. Can your dad grow a good mustache?
Yes. He actually had one most of my childhood.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Which is kind of like, this is honoring my childhood image of my dad with the walrus. This is what this stash is called, the walrus, nice and thick on top.
It's great.
Yeah, he rocked it for a while. I remember the day that he shaved it off was shocking.
Yeah.
It was just like, we were all disturbed, like, no,
totally,
that's not my dad.
Totally. Yeah, I remember, my dad shaving a few times and it just being like, no, that's too much skin on your face. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, this is not right.
Yeah.
Something is wrong here.
100%.
I've only been clean shaved once in mine and Meredith's marriage.
Wow.
And that was disturbing for her. She's like, I feel like I'm kissing a stranger. Let's not have that.
Yeah. Oh, it looks great, man.
Thanks.
How long are you going to keep it?
I don't know. I'm calling it my summer stash, so it's got to last until August at least.
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm a little more aerodynamic too when it comes to standing in inflow and outflow.
Yeah, you can tell like the relative humidity on your bare skin. You can judge it better.
Or how much condenses on my upper lip.
Absolutely.
Moisture levels are high.
Absolutely. It's important. It's a tool. That's awesome. Well, you look good, dude.
Appreciate it.
Well, let's bring in our guest.
Yes.
All right, listeners, this is a big one. Our guest today is the most important person in my life. We actually started dating during a natural disaster, which we'll definitely talk about. She's the mother to our children. We've been married for 11 years. She has intercepted a tornado. Spoiler alert. We'll talk about that. She's my ride or die, my love, Jane Hamann. Welcome to the podcast.
Wow. Thanks for having me.
Yay, Jane.
Big fan of the pod.
So glad that you are on here. This is awesome.
Thanks for the intro, Jeremy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I only wish that we could do this in person and have all our families back together again.
Me too.
Last time we were all together, we were lakeside, stand-up paddleboarding. That was a good time.
Fun. That is the one downside of you guys always chasing is we never get to hang out, Gabe.
It's true.
Like
it's true.
You and Jeremy are always many, many hours away, and I am watching you as little dots moving on my phone.
Yes.
Well, today we want to talk about a special event that happened 3 years ago, almost to the day of this record, which was the June 7th, 2021 Platteville, Colorado EF2 landspout. Say that 5 times fast. It was a really crazy looking, beautiful landspout tornado in the fashion of a high plains amazing storm. But this was Jane's first intercept of a tornado. Super, super awesome story. So do you want to kick us off where you were and how you encountered it and what it was like?
Sure. Yes. 3 years ago to the week. So it was very fun. I just looked back on a ton of photos to reminisce. There's something so fun about looking back at pictures that you took of something beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I also searched through my text messages. I'm one of those people that saves I do not auto delete my text messages. I buy more iCloud storage so that I still have texts from 2011. I have my own server island somewhere with all of my texts. But I looked back on all my text messages, which was look what I saw. Here's my first tornado. So we live about an hour from Denver, and I was down in Denver randomly for kind of a meeting thing. And Jeremy had our daughter, who was how old? 9 months at the time, 8 months. So Jeremy was on dad duty. I was driving back from Denver, which is about an hour drive. And I don't remember there being severe weather on the drive, maybe just summer afternoon rain clouds, but it was definitely not a stressful drive. I was in our quote unquote chase vehicle because that is not the car seat vehicle. So that was exciting. Like I was ready to go without even knowing it. And I was only about 15 minutes from home. So we live about 15 minutes off the freeway that you take to Denver I-25. Anyone who's been in Colorado has driven on it. So I was exiting I-25 to head towards our town and saw cars starting to line up and pull over. I don't remember it raining on me. And I just kind of looked in my rearview mirror and I saw a funnel cloud starting to form. And there's a lot of like agricultural land, and so I pulled off on like a dirt road as fast as I could and just started like looking around, driving, looking for higher ground, thinking of all the tips I've heard you guys talk about over the years, and like kind of made my way to this farm and just got up as high as I could on a hill. And I was probably, how far do you think I was from it, Jeremy? At least 5 miles. Yeah. So I had a plenty of distance, but a great open view. And, so I got out of my car, got out my phone, started filming. I was like, landscape, not portrait. Or, like thinking of everything. Like Jeremy's like, wait, hold on, turn your phone. So, I just like got to film it and watch it unfold. It was gorgeous. And it was really serene. Like it was really windy, but not that rainy and cool out. And then at one point, I remember I got back in the car and drove some more to try to get an even better view. And I think the whole time we were trying to text each other, like, where are you? And Jeremy was with our daughter and he had loaded her up in the car. And for some reason, our dog too. I'm like, why did you take him? You can tell your part.
Yeah, I was taking our daughter and a dog on a walk around a lake that we live near. And I was leaving home. And as I do, just kind of like nervously open my radar scope app just like randomly, like all the time, just checking it if
habitually. Yeah,
totally. Because I saw like a cloud base near our house, actually, like just to the east, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'll look on radar to see if that's developing into something. And it was just a small little cell at that moment, and I was like, oh, maybe that'll turn into something, maybe it won't. I need to take our dog on a walk. And so we were, Penny, Jed, our basset hound, and I were at a lake just here in town. And a friend texted me. They were at Target in the parking lot, and they could see the tornado. And they said, "Are you seeing this tornado?" And I checked my radar scope again. This was probably 30 minutes later. And it was tornado warned. It was crazy. And so Jane had been texting me also. And so I was like, let's get in the car. I was talking to myself at this point. So I loaded my dog, our baby, into the car, and I was like, let's go get a little bit closer look. We're not going to get close, obviously. I have a baby and a dog. But let's move a little bit more east to take a look. So Jane and I, independent of each other, are both kind of intercepting this tornado, which was really, really crazy. I wasn't able to get very close. It was rush hour traffic at the time on Highway 66 north of Longmont. And it was very like bumper to bumper, like people were seeing this funnel off in the distance and we're like freaking out, obviously, and you kind of take your eyes off the road. We stayed safe, thankfully, but I did see some fender benders on the way. And we probably got, I don't know, probably like 10 miles away. We were not close whatsoever. But it was a really cool.
That's probably an important note for anyone who's like got their finger on the dial. Like, I'm calling human services on this guy.
Totally.
Well, we found each other and switched the baby at one point. So we switched Penny. So I had my beautiful panoramic view with like lightning in the background, and I got that. And then I knew Jeremy was even further. He's like 5 miles further. And then we met up and switched cars. And I remember one of my texts was to my sister. It's like, can you see Jeremy's location? My data's not working. I'm trying to find him so I can get Penny so he can get closer to the storm. So I know like the data signals were jammed because millions of people were watching.
Everybody's texting everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's what's just crazy about it. And that's what I think people might have a hard time understanding, that you were 10 miles away and still seeing it.
Yeah.
Is this thing was 10,000 feet tall. That's insane. It's may arguably be one of the tallest landspouts in Colorado history. So they estimate that 5 million people on the Front Range could have seen it.
Incredible.
Logistically,
5
because
million people live on the Front Range.
they said from as far as 70 miles away,
That is
it was
wild.
visible.
Yeah, people were seeing it in skyscrapers all the way down in Denver. People were seeing it in airplanes landing at Denver International.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
So you didn't have to be close to it, which made it such a massive event because so many people saw it.
Yeah, and with that in mind, it's fun that we were as close as we were. Like we were some of the closest people to it in that sense.
Well, I got to ask Jeremy, how does it feel that Jane got way better of an intercept than you did?
I was very proud. It was great. It was great. Yeah. She was right place, right time. That's storm chasing 101, right? You just got to be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And I had the right tools. Like I also am constantly checking radar scope.
Nice.
So I'm like, refreshing and trying to get to the right spot. But yeah, I sent the video, and then there's a grab of the video with the lightning strike in it. I sent it to so many people.
That's
and
awesome.
I group texted it to you guys. I reread our group text, and I think you said, Gabe, Jane, we need to be on the podcast to talk about it.
That's right.
And here we are 3 years later.
3 years later. I gotta know what was kind of like the emotional state you were in seeing this for the first time, and really kind of close to home.
I was really excited. I think because I felt so confident that it was far away. It was just the perfect, really ideal situation for me. It did not feel dangerous. It felt very visible, but distant. And so it was just exciting and really beautiful. I think I probably had some nerves for the people nearby and the towns, like where's it going to go? Is it moving? But it really wasn't moving fast. It was just kind of sitting there, so tall and skinny. So it was really a beautiful experience. It was gorgeous. And it's funny because you just don't want it to stop, but then you do want it to stop at the same time because it's dangerous.
Right.
And so I remember it like starting to fizzle out and then thinking, is it going to come back? What's going to happen next? It's going to reform. And then it kind of fizzled out, and I, made the decision to turn around and keep driving towards home. But it was a really, really wild thing. I did not grow up around tornadoes at all. So never thought I would see one or really considered seeing one. So it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. Jane grew up on the West Coast, in California and Arizona. I grew up in Nebraska, so a lot more familiar with it. But our time in Texas, we lived in Texas for a while as well. I don't even know if we had any tornadoes get close to Austin the time we lived there.
I don't think so.
But yeah, it's an awesome first tornado for sure. And a very unique, interesting tornado is a landspout tornado. I know we've talked a little bit about landspouts on the podcast in past episodes, but Gabe, what is a landspout tornado, and what makes it different from maybe like regular supercell tornadoes?
Yeah. Thank you for asking. Great question, Jeremy. Yes. So, first we have to say landspouts are tornadoes. I think I have seen some chaser debate on that, but they are technically tornadoes. But what makes them differ from supercellular tornadoes is that they form under a thunderstorm that's not rotating. So supercellular tornadoes, they form under a rotating updraft. And it's all the extreme, like the very organized wind mechanisms within a supercell are what form a tornado. A landspout's different because you have to have some sort of boundary or spin already existing outside of a storm. So that spin was there before the storms even erupted that day. But what happens when the storm starts to form is you get wind getting sucked into the thunderstorm and pulling up into the storm. And that horizontal roll of the wind gets lifted vertically underneath the updraft. And therefore, you get a landspout. So the storm itself was not rotating. And that's actually kind of what makes these hard to predict or warn. It's because the storm's not rotating. You don't see rotation on radar necessarily. Usually people see it before they can issue a warning. So that's exactly what happened that day. Is the warning didn't come out until after it had already formed. Mm-hmm. But that's because they couldn't see on radar that the storm was forming, which again emphasizes the necessity for storm spotters, because those are your eyes on the ground when the radar can't see things.
Absolutely. And I wonder if people realize how many tornado warnings are like algorithmically indicated in the software, the radar software itself. And there could be a tornado, there could not be a tornado in a specific tornado warning. You need visual to confirm that. Hey, dear listener, storm chasing and podcasting both cost money. And now that Gabe and I are back making podcasts regularly, we have a new way that you can support our show. If you look in the show notes, you'll see a link to be able to subscribe to our podcast. This will cost you $5 a month, and you will be rewarded with early access to our podcasts. You'll get each episode 2 days early as a $5 a month subscriber, and we will read your name on the podcast. This support means the world to us. We take our time out of our regular lives to make these episodes, and so just a little extra support would really, really mean the world to us. Thank you so much for listening and considering subscribing.
And the other thing that made this unique was it lasted for 35 minutes, which is extremely unusual for a landspout. Those are usually less than 10 minutes. And the strength of it, landspouts are typically pretty weak. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why a lot of people kind of dismiss them as not tornadoes, but they are technically tornadoes. And this one was rated EF2, which is extremely powerful for a landspout. Absolutely.
Yeah, there was some EF2 damage just directly east of Platteville and north of 66. I believe a car or two got flipped, and there was some significant structural damage there as well.
Yeah. The county it happened in, I actually didn't know this until researching this event. Weld County in Colorado gets more tornadoes than any other county in America.
Wow.
In the entire United States.
Are you serious?
Serious. According to the internet.
This county is 4 miles from our house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was tornado number 293 since 1950.
How have we not seen more tornadoes there, Jeremy? How have you let this happen?
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, this the geography of our area and kind of the downslope weather patterns that occur off of the foothills really just kick things up. And if there's just a little bit of moisture in the air, a little bit of relative humidity, and it just spins things up very, very, very quickly here where we live.
Yeah. Yep. Fascinating.
Super fast. That's a crazy fact. Wow. Really wild.
It's really interesting because usually, a couple times Jeremy has taken our daughter, who's now 4, out, and we'll say, oh, we're going to go chase. We're going to go look at some thunderstorms. And I always think, okay, no problem. Nothing's going to happen near us. So Gabe.
He's been hiding that fact from you for years. It's the only reason you have a house in Longmont.
I might rethink now when Jeremy says, we're going to run out for a little bit.
We just go look at lightning, and I'm getting her used to and maybe kind of building her confidence just around thunderstorms and being able to spot different features and things like that. We will never ever get close to a tornado intercept or anything like that.
That is correct.
on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose. Exactly.
I think she did take a nap the entire time.
Yeah, she often is sleeping. Yeah.
I've taken both my daughters out, and there was a period where there was a competition about who was going to see the tornado first.
Have either of them seen one yet?
Tegan, my oldest, saw a very brief, weak tornado. We actually didn't get any photos of it because it happened so quickly, and we were standing roadside talking to somebody. They captured it, and we asked them for some photos of it. But so I printed out a little certificate for her. She has bragging rights now as older sister. She got to see one first. So still trying to get my youngest to see one. There was a tornado last year in Waco that she almost came with me storm chasing, but she's like, I don't think anything will happen. But it did. Yep. And she was very upset the next day. So we'll get her one. That was her
Morton. Yeah.
Yeah, that was her Morton. We'll get her one. They're
Absolutely.
Still invested. 100%. But my oldest, she said she feels satisfied having seen that. I don't think
that's how I feel. Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, the pressure's off. No one is going to be like, oh, when are you going to go see a tornado with Jeremy? It's like, I've already seen a great tornado. I am confident and comfortable in my current status.
I think that's a very normal response. We have something broken inside of us that makes us
I need more.
Want to see more tornadoes.
Yeah. Tegan was definitely more than satisfied after hers.
It's a very smart girl.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just a really, really interesting storm. There's some really great footage of it out there. In particular, there is a storm chaser, Corey Poggenpole, who got some really great footage, which we'll link to. He got pretty close. So some really, really, really cool footage. Beautiful. It looks a lot like the Wizard of Oz tornado.
It really does.
Yeah. Just like a crazy snaky funnel with like an outer shell of dust, around it. Really beautiful to be able to see the contrast and the features of that tornado.
And there's some really great footage from residents who are really close to it as well. If you Google, we'll put a link to one. Just insane looking at the base of this thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely bananas.
Yeah, it looks like the end of the world. It's so huge and so tall. Really crazy. Really, really crazy. And just as a reminder to our listeners, the EF rating is related to storm damage that is observed after the fact by National Weather Service employees. And it did earn that EF2 rating because one home had a roof damaged. I believe it was like 50 to 60% ripped off. So that indicated, based on the quality of the structure, to EF2 rating. There was some crop damage and some other structural damage. We don't believe there were any casualties associated with this landspout tornado. So there was some definitely loss of property involved with this tornado as well, which we always try to mention just to bring a full picture of the reality of a storm like this. But definitely a unique situation for our family all getting to experience it together, and for the millions of people in the Front Range who got to witness probably their first tornado as well. So a pretty momentous occasion for lots and lots and lots and lots of people.
Well, Jeremy, you alluded at the beginning of the podcast to the fact that you and Jane started dating during a natural disaster. Tell us more. Absolutely.
Yeah, Jane will be able to tell the story even better, but it was in 2013. Jane and I met, actually, we worked at a summer camp in southwestern Colorado as a backpacking outfitter. We took high schoolers on 6-day backpacking trips. I worked there for 2 summers. Jane worked there for 4 summers. Mm-hmm. And Jane was the leader of the guide team at the time. Jane's an incredible leader, and this was her turn to lead the team. And it was a very dry summer in Colorado. We've had more and more dry summers and fires. And this was at the time the largest fire in Colorado history. So it was the Papoose West Fork Fire Complex. But Jane, I always love to hear you tell the story of this fire, but what was your experience like? How did it start? And what was kind of the camp's response to the fire moving forward and your role in that?
Wow. Yeah. Great question. And wild memories. That was 12 years ago. So yeah, we were running backpacking trips from a really remote part of southern Colorado in the San Juan Mountains. It's really high, beautiful mountains, but not very populated at all. And so our guides could call in with walkie-talkies. And they usually called in only once in the morning and once in the evening to save battery. So their walkie-talkies were turned off during the day unless they turned them on to call into base camp. And so we got a call from one of our guides in the middle of a week, probably day like 3 or 4 of a 6-day trip, saying, hey, we think we see smoke. And we called the Forest Service, and they were the first people to report it. And suddenly this fire spread very quickly within a matter of, gosh, it seemed like
12 hours.
12 hours, maybe 24 hours. We were at a town meeting at the nearby town, 45 minutes away, where firefighters came in and said, everyone needs to evacuate. We need to evacuate people from the wilderness.
Wow.
This is spreading so fast. And the Rio Grande Reservoir is a huge landmark there. It's the literal headwaters of the Rio Grande. And that is really close to where our guides and our campers were. And so it was a big deal if the fire were to jump the Rio Grande. And so we went home from that town meeting back to our base camp and tried to get a little bit of sleep. And the next morning sent guides who were not out on the trail running to go find the groups and tell them, you need to evacuate the wilderness. This fire is spreading. And so we evacuated probably 150 high school students off various backpacking trips throughout the San Juan Mountains. And we had to evacuate our base camp. It was a pretty large operation. I mean, at least 150 campers probably, and maybe 50 camp staff. And it was really scary and the most intense face-to-face experience I've ever had with weather and a natural disaster. But Jeremy was one of the first people I called from my Subaru Outback as I was driving away from the smoke and the flames and wondering what was going to happen. And he ended up getting in the car and driving out to Colorado to help and support us and be there for us. And that is when we started dating, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I was, of course, being my storm chasing tracker person. I remember I was on like a pretty primitive version of Google Earth at the time, like 2013 version of Google Earth. And they had like very limited integration with fire satellites. So it's like the VIRS satellite, VIIRS. And it's much more advanced now, I think higher resolution, but I was like tracking these dots, these low res fire dots in relation to the camp. And Jane and I, were talking. We weren't dating at the time. We were really good friends. We'd been really good friends for several years, and trying to keep her up to date, give her information as best as I could. And yeah, it was a primitive version of fire tracking that is a lot more advanced now. There's apps like Watch Duty and stuff like that are much better experiences, and there's definitely higher resolution models, or I should say satellite images now. But yeah, I drove up to Colorado, and the camp staff had dispersed basically, and Jane and I hung out for a week road tripping. I was in between jobs at the time. And yeah, we basically just like started dating, running these errands like together in a van for camp, and just started talking about life. And
we went back to the burn area, right?
Yeah.
I think we did.
We went into camp, I believe. Yeah. And we'll share a link to a video as well of our valley. So our camp was in a valley, like a pretty tight valley, in a series of parallel valleys. And there's some great YouTube footage of aerial firefighters doing runs through these valleys, and it's very like Star Wars Death Star run through these valleys. They're just like these firefighters are so fearless, but our camp really was their last stand point, where they're trying to save property. And they did. I
don't think any structures.
Yeah, incredible.
Because it was so remote. It was such a remote area of the wilderness that there really was nothing to burn but trees. And then it literally came, it burned probably 100 feet from our camp.
Yeah, really crazy.
That's crazy.
And then the firefighters were able to like build a trench, drop flame retardant, and
the pilots in those
it.
aircrafts are insane.
Yeah.
I've had the
So
opportunity
brave.
to watch a couple here in Texas, and it's the precision that they have. I mean, you're watching them, and it looks like you're going to either run into something or just go straight into the ground. But it's such precision.
Yeah.
Like, we got to get someone on our podcast to talk about that, because
that'd be
that's
awesome.
phenomenal. And fire creating its own weather. We've, fire NATOs. There's some really fascinating stories there. But yeah, props to, if you're listening and you're one of those guys, hats off. I cannot imagine.
Yeah. You are truly a hero. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just flying in mountain terrain, like there's just different pockets of weather happening, wherever you're flying. And so it's just not a uniform atmosphere that they're flying through. It's really crazy. I got the chance we had some fires roll down the Front Range last summer here in Colorado. There was a fire near Loveland, Colorado, and a fire near Lyons, Colorado. And we just got to like watch from our house pretty much different types of like fixed wing and also helicopter aircraft just bombing this thing all hours of when the sun was up. And they just did an incredible job too. So it's a very like real and present part of living in Colorado.
Yeah.
are these pine forests drying out and burning. But yeah, Jane and I started dating during this fire, and it's just a great part of our story. And I'm really, really thankful for that dedicated time that we just got together just to like basically road trip for a week amidst this craziness. I got to see Jane like in like stellar leadership role, leading this group of people through a completely unknown situation. She was really just the rock of this group, and helping them figure out what do we do next. And they still led backpacking trips just in different parts of Colorado, and you helped organize that really, really well. Yeah, just incredible to see. I was like, I want to marry this person. This person is awesome and so impressive. And yeah, that's just really who you are, like in the face of extreme circumstances. You just are nails. Like you just really shine. So that stood out to me and really what I fell in love with.
Thank you,
awesome.
Jeremy. Wow. Who needs to renew their wedding vows when you get to be on a podcast?
And the whole time Jane's thinking, this guy seems to have a mild fascination with disasters.
What a weirdo.
What is he doing here? Yeah, I don't think I even knew about storm chasing then. I certainly didn't know what it was. I don't know if even though I'd known you for years, what year did you guys have your first chase?
2012.
Okay, so same year. So it was all happening. That was 2012 as well. No, that was 2013.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just probably wasn't aware.
We had a lot of like failed chases at that, like maybe a few like busts.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He goes on long road trips for no reason. Interesting.
He comes back sad. It's weird.
That's great. Meredith had a fun way of finding out that I was way into weather. She I would talk about it. She's like, oh, that's a fun hobby, I guess. But we had a tropical storm hit while we were living in Jacksonville, Florida. And we lived next to the St. Johns River, which is a big river that runs through Jacksonville, Florida. And we were up on a hill, and this tropical storm was actually intensifying off the coast. And it was gusting up to 70 miles an hour. And we had a tree kind of slowly lean down on our apartment. And so we woke up that morning when it was really peak intensity. I was like, oh, I'm just going to walk outside and observe. What she didn't know is that I walked down to the river where the river was actually experiencing storm surge from the wind and blowing it into the bottom part of our neighborhood.
Whoa.
So I was probably in like knee to thigh deep river water that's splashing over the river wall onto me. And I have my little handy cam out there, and I'm trying to get this shot with the palm tree and the waves. And I was just loving it. And I come back, and she didn't ask where I was, and I didn't feel the need to tell her. And then the next day, someone called and said, "Do you know you're on the front page of the Miami Herald?"
Oh my gosh.
And it was there was a photographer at the top of the hill who got a picture of me standing in the storm surge. And she freaked out. She's like, "No, you can't do that." And I was like,
Wow.
I kind of have to, though. I can't help it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we worked through things. And that's when she discovered, like, okay, you're really into this. Like,
This is not going away.
yeah.
I think
Made
I
for some
have-
great conversation.
It's so funny. I think I have a similar type memory where when we were living in Austin, we were dating and I was going to drive home and there was a pretty bad just rainstorm, maybe with some hail. And I think I was nervous to drive home because it was storming so bad, but I had to be somewhere or something like that. And I think I remember driving home and it was so rainy, like one of those just scary drives where you can't see in front of you. You don't quite know where the lines on the road are, and thinking, why is Jeremy not worried about me? Because Jeremy's like, "Oh, this is nothing. This is nothing. Oh, you'll be fine. Go for it."
He was envious. Yeah.
Jeremy's like, "Oh, this is so boring. This rain is so boring. It's nothing." on his scale of severe weather. And I think that might be when it hit me that he didn't have the same level of fear that I did of being caught.
Yeah, absolutely. It's we need to get Meredith on the show too to talk about that hurricane experience. That's awesome.
Yeah. That was a fun introduction
Yeah, seriously.
to the obsession.
We definitely have an interesting relationship with our friends that live across the country. They come to us for like pinpoint up to date weather advice when storms are nearby. What is that like for you, Jane, to get those texts?
I love being able to connect with friends about weather and help them feel safe. I think that is the upside and the part that I love about your life as a storm chaser, is that we've been able to be a resource to people who are nervous. I love helping people feel secure, and I love data and information. So when a friend is like, "Hey, I'm on the road right now. I'm driving in the middle of nowhere and I think I might be heading towards a storm," we can call them, or usually they're calling us and say, "Hey, you're safe," or "Hey, pull over for 20 minutes." And then we're watching them. We love the Find My Friends app in our family. We are tracking everyone. And so say, "Share your location with us. We'll look at the weather." Our friend jokes that if Jeremy calls, you always answer. And she works with college students. And I think it was exactly a year ago.
Yeah,
it was like the day of graduation in San Marcos, Texas. And there was was there a tornado?
It was a crazy hailstorm.
Crazy
I remember
hailstorm.
that storm was chasing me down the highway. It was insane.
And I think it was very dangerous. And Jeremy called, this is my best friend, and said, "Hey, you need to go home, and whoever you're with, you need to send them home." And I think she was at a graduation party, and she said to everyone, "I know this sounds crazy. I know it's not raining, but this guy Jeremy just called and he said we all need to go home." And everyone went home, and they were glad they did, because it was something like they were at a volleyball court and a tree fell on the volleyball court.
Wow.
And Jeremy was totally there for them and knew to call. So I love getting to be supportive for our friends, and I love keeping people safe. Another text that I saw on my phone as I was searching the word tornado in my text messages to look back on the pictures from my tornado intercept was just like a friend in Dallas had just had a baby, and there was a tornado warm storm in Dallas. And she's texting us saying, "Am I okay? What do I do?" And like Jeremy and I were on it. We're like, here's where you are, but here's what you do. Storm's moving this way. Do this.
Film horizontally, not vertically.
Film horizontally.
Go outside.
Exactly. I think I might have switched it earlier. I think I said portrait, not landscape, instead of landscape, not portrait.
I think you said it right.
Okay,
You said it
great,
right.
great.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
good.
But nowadays,
Portraits
is
in.
king. It's king. Yeah,
Not for me.
Gosh.
video is
I'm going to
king.
hold out on that one till I die.
Like I always hear Jeremy's voice in my head. Landscape. But yeah, I love getting to be, I think, in the know and a support to our friends, because we just have friends who are always in weird weather places. It just comes up all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it happened to your parents once. I remember being, calling them or, things like that. We're usually the one telling someone, hey, you need to watch out. We just had some friends who were really severely affected by the Asheville flooding. And that was so hard and intense and painful. But watching them get to rely on Jeremy as a trusted source was really comforting, because they were scared and we were scared for them, and him just being a friend to them with tools that they didn't have at their disposal because they were evacuated.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful that we get to help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, totally. It definitely is like if our relationship has a personality, it really is like being able to provide, help, comfort, situational awareness to those around us. It's like, it's a huge deal. And I'm sure people listening to this podcast too, right? Like are those similar people in their communities as well. It's a unique skill set to have, but it's super high value for sure.
Yeah, I was on a hike yesterday with a friend, and a bunch of people were looking at the clouds. Is it going to rain? Da, da, da. And I'm just like looking at radar scope. I'm like, I have the information. There is 1/4 inch hail and it will arrive in 11 minutes. Let's leave the playground and go to the shelter.
It is like it's a superpower.
It feels like a superpower.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and the technology just keeps getting better and better, and the ability for just normal consumers like us to have access to it, often for free or like a low monthly fee is pretty incredible advantage that us in, just normal people in the weather have right now. So yeah, it's really great. We should link to the Girls Who Chase education that they have. I'm not saying this right.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
About just like reading radar. It's a really wonderful resource.
Yeah, and that's something I actually was thinking of. Like, that's something you've learned, Jane, just through osmosis, being married to Jeremy. But it's something that's knowledge that anybody can have, and just knowing how to read a radar. It's super helpful. It's super important, I think, especially if you're living in these high risk places. But it's just good to know. And once you have that knowledge, that alleviates a lot of the fear behind it and the anxiety. So I would encourage anyone who's listening, if you don't know how to read radar, there's so many resources. And like Jeremy said, we'll link to some of those. But that is a super helpful resource, and just kind of gives you a little power over that anxiety and fear.
Yeah. But sometimes it can produce it. I remember when you guys, what storm was it? I guess in 20...
I think it was Wynnywood.
16 or 17, Wynnywood.
Oh, Wynnywood.
I remember closing my office door at work and just refreshing radar scope and refreshing Jeremy's location and being very scared. Like, they are on this, and this looks very serious. And my day maybe would have been better if I didn't check my phone.
Knowledge wasn't power.
Knowledge was not power. But no, you're totally right, Gabe. I think it is so important and just very empowering to know what's going on around us, because we cannot control it, but we can at least try to learn about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. That was great. That's a great note to close us out, I think. Thank you so much for joining us, Jane. I love you. Is there anything you're enjoying on the web right now? Any podcasts or music that you want to recommend or point anybody to?
On the World Wide Web?
The internets.
Gosh, great question. I am in a good podcast. Oh, perfect timing. We just heard a baby cry.
Nap time is over.
Has ended. No one wants to hear about the podcasts I like. Just kidding. I am really enjoying some good podcasts right now. Amy Poehler's podcast, loving it.
Good hang.
Good hang is a great hang. I am loving Here to Make Friends with Jesse Klein and Liz Feldman. Loving that podcast. I am loving watching movies.
Yeah.
Jeremy and I have been watching some really good movies.
Yeah, we're in a movie season.
Yeah.
We're over TV.
Shows have just made us
TV's
feel
washed.
crummy.
Yeah.
We watch them and then we're like, we don't. What do? We just go to bed.
There's nothing after Andor. Like you can just stop watching TV.
Right. I accidentally slept through like 3 episodes of Andor.
Oh,
Watch the
no.
last few.
But then I stayed awake
Yeah.
and my life was changed. And I was like, why did you let me sleep, Jeremy? Like you should have wakened me. You should have woken me up. But
all your
Andor was
fault.
so good. And
So
now we've moved into our movie season and we've been watching some really fun movies after the girls go to bed. It's a great thing.
We just watched the Before trilogy by Richard Linklater. Really great, interesting, unique set of 3 movies filmed over 30 years. So the first movie came out in 95. The second came out in around 2004, 2005. And then the last one came out in like 2014. Follows this fictional couple, but I think it has like a lot of real life from the main actors' lives. Great movies, the Before trilogy. I believe the first movie is Before Sunrise. The second is Before Sunset. And then the third is Before Midnight. Highly recommend. If you're into romantic comedies, it's not quite a romantic comedy, but it's certainly a romance trilogy. Check those out.
Those are fun. Thanks, guys. This is great to talk to you.
Thanks, Jane. You're the
Yeah.
best.
Thank you.
Best wishes.
This has been a fun episode. We need to do this more often.
Absolutely. We've got to get Meredith
Go
on.
Go see some more tornadoes.
You overhyped me a little bit at the beginning. You're like, we've been trying to get this guest on for 3 years because their schedule is so booked.
I mean, kind of is.
Well, it is.
They're doing
Two
so
young
many
children.
podcasts.
Absolutely. We're out here parenting.
Their fee is so high, we can't afford them.
Totally. It took some wrangling for sure to get you on.
Well, you asked me on, and I said I'll think about it.
Yeah.
It's not an automatic.
Yeah. You said my people will
Wow.
call your people. Yeah.
Yeah. We're glad you came on.
Thank you for listening to StormReel. Please, if you could, rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. And if the place you're listening has like a little bell or notification tool, hit that tool too so that you know when the next episode of StormReel releases. Thank you so much to Orograph for the use of our theme song, Metamorism. You can find that song and great albums streaming everywhere. You can find us everywhere on social media at the StormReel and stormreel.com. Please share that. Check us out. We actually have a TikTok now, which is crazy. So hoping to share some vertical videos there. And so, yeah, check us out everywhere. Thank you so much for joining us. For StormReel, I've been Jeremy Hamann, joined by Gabe Cox. We'll talk soon.
This episode was made in part by the support of our newest subscriber, Max. Thanks, Max, for being a part of the StormReel family, and remember to keep looking up.